the afternoon of the 1st of September 2021, Geraldine and I left our boat in its berth in Gosport Marina and took the short walk to Haslar and the Royal Navy Submarine Museum, which features the remaining A-class submarine HMS Alliance. The first exhibit we looked at was the conning tower of the submarine E-17, which was wrecked in January 1916. This conning tower is now preserved as a monument. We walked to the visitor centre where we checked in our tickets, and then we started by looking round the exhibition centre. The first thing we saw was one of the X-type mini-submarines, several of which had been used to try and sink the German battleship Tirpitz. It was time for our walk through HMS Alliance, and I'd like to begin by reading an extract from the book by Edward Young, One of Our Submarines, which covers his exploits and his experiences on board submarines during the Second World War. I was rather disappointed at the fragile and rattly appearance of this submarine. It was so different from the sleek, streamlined craft of my imagination. I was unaware that most of what I could see was a sort of outer shell which filled with water when the submarine dived. The whole of the long, narrow deck and most of the bridge structure were in fact pierced by innumerable holes, so as to allow this outer casing to flood when diving and drain away when surfacing. The pressure hull itself was barely visible above the surface of the water as we led forward and told to climb down through a round hatch into the innards of this monster. I don't think any of us could felt very happy about it. We had gathered a few details about submarines when we were at King Alfred. We knew, for instance, that the pressure hull was roughly the shape of a long cigar, circular in section and tapering slightly towards each end. We knew that the lower half of it was occupied by trimming tanks, fuel tanks, huge electric batteries, and so on. We knew that a submarine had diesel engines for driving her along on the surface and for charging her batteries, and that she changed over to her electric motors when submerged. But we were not prepared for the myriad impressions that bewildered us as we were led aft along the passageway past various compartments to the wardroom. First of all, I was astonished at the size of the boat. In most places you could stand up to your full height. You had to duck your head to avoid various overhead obstructions or when you passed through the watertight doors, but in general you could walk about quite easily. The hull was wider than a London tube train. Another thing that surprised me, strangely enough, was the brightness of the lighting everywhere. And in the messes there were wooden bunks and wooden cupboards and curtains and pin-up girls and tables with green baize cloths. I had not expected to find so much comfort and coziness, but alas, what a confusion and complexity of pipes, valves, electric wiring, switches, pressure gauges, junction boxes above our heads and on every side of us. How could anyone so unmechanical as myself ever hope to master it all?
Fairly happy with your performance, but
Divers to the gun tower hatch in 5 minutes.
I guess this was the captain's wall.
That's the mess room. Where he kept his pigeons.
Wardroom.
Wardroom, where he kept his pigeons.
Pigeons?
a pigeon.
And now we enter the control room.
Roger, sound room. Nothing visual. Watch 09. Roger, watch 09.
Can I just hear the ship's cat?
Yeah, where is it?
Back there somewhere.
Don't we have one?
Yes. No idea.
Oh, they're allowed to have one.
Officer of the watch, sound room. You contact there in 289. Roger, sound room. Officer of the watch, sound room. Contact 09, bearing 287, 1 sharp 4 blades, 290 revolutions, in out, classified station vessel. Roger, sound room. Nothing visual. Watch 09. Roger, watch 09.
Keep 53. On deck 53.
Roger, 09, reporting 09.
Keep 53. On deck 53.
Председатель Президиума Верховного Совета СССР Леонид Ильич Брежнев.
You imagine trying to cook for all the crew and just 2 people in here.
Like the nice Tudor.
Group down, follow her together.
What's that bus bar?
Seeing as your father was an electrician, you should know that.
It says that main motor and bus bar bolts are equal.
Give me that wrench, will you? Cheers.
Worth the shout for children. I was going to say, that's when being deaf is helpful. That's what your mummy said. Thank you very much.
Hi there.
Okay. Why you feed
Yeah.
other hazards.
Just a few.
Safety non-existent. The after torpedo loading bay is not as big as forward, but it's more spacious, and it wasn't used as much. You count 4 torpedoes and 2 in the tubes, but it was always quiet. In fact, on the overall class submarine, my bunkers, like that, they were down on top of a Mark 20 torpedo, and you could feel it in the small of your back.
So why did somebody have to sleep here?
That's to the sick bay.
Oh, it's a sick bay as well?
Yeah, that's where the coxswain does brain surgery and heart transplant.
Oh, and the
Stitches you up.
septicemia operation.
Huh?
And the septicemia operation that they mentioned.
Oh, no.
Yeah, down there somewhere.
After we concluded our walk through HMS Alliance, we returned to the exhibition centre, where I soon spotted this model of HMS Storm. She was a submarine commanded by Edward Young and was much of the subject of the book One of Our Submarines. The final part of our visit to the Royal Navy Submarine Museum was to see Holland 1, the very first submarine commissioned for the Royal Navy. She was laid down in 1901 and then ultimately sank on her way to being scrapped. She lay on the bottom until 1981, when she was found and brought back up to the surface. She was restored to the condition we see today and has been on display at the museum since 1983. And so we concluded our visit to the Royal Navy Submarine Museum. We really enjoyed the 2 hours we spent there, and I would highly recommend a visit.